This is art. Any recovery topic is art. Joining me today is Yoga Sam, and I will give you one guess as to why she is called Yoga Sam. So, Yoga Sam, thank you for joining me today. You bring yoga into the field of recovery and mental health, and that's pretty interesting. So I thought I'd get together and have a little sit down with you and talk about that a little bit. And again, this is a first of many firsts in my recording podcasts so far up to this point, but this is the first time that I've ever had anybody send me the questions, and they were very good questions. However, I can now eliminate some of the ones that I had pre-planned, such as if I can't pronounce the words right, can I just fake it? What if I pass gas during yoga? What if I fall over during yoga? What if I have stinky feet? So we're just going to bypass all those and go with some of the more legitimate ones. So how did you go about bringing yoga into the field of mental health and recovery?
It wasn't something I sought out. It was an opportunity presented to me. I was working at the community college. One of the students I had there became the admin assistant of a facility that was just opening up. And they were advertising that they provided yoga, but they did not have a yoga teacher. And the only yoga person she knew was me. So she reached out to me. I came and saw the facility and started there the second week they were open. I've been doing this for 10 years now.
Wow. And so you go to different facilities and you do groups and whatnot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you do drug and alcohol facilities as well as mental health?
Yes. I also have a studio that I run and some other things, but a large part of what I do right now is helping people that have alcohol, drug, or mental health issues.
Okay. Well, feel free to plug the studio if you'd like.
My website's hillsideyoga.com. I have meditations on YouTube under Hillside Yoga.
Okay. Awesome. So what does it exactly offer clients in facilities as far as on their path to recovery? How is it beneficial specifically to these clients?
It is, in my experience, very common that the people that end up in these facilities have not taken the best care of themselves before they showed up there physically. So the first part is just getting them to begin to build a better relationship with their bodies, a kinder relationship with their physical bodies. I've been very fortunate to work with some people who've given me a little bit of leeway throughout the time I've been doing this. And I've been able to move from just teaching pose classes to incorporating a lot of yoga philosophy as well, which a lot of my clients find is sometimes more beneficial than the poses.
Okay. And knowing that you work with certain facilities, one facility that I know of uses ACT therapy. And how does that tie together, or does it?
So when I first started doing this, it was a blue book only kind of place. It was all 12-step, and that was what we did. And then we moved to DBT and CBT, and now we're at ACT. ACT is as close to yoga as any of the therapies have been.
Really?
And I've been teaching the same material through the process of them finding the therapy that works the most, in my opinion, because it's my background. Um, I'm almost convinced that the person who created ACT therapy was a yoga student, studied yoga. It is so parallel to the things within yoga philosophy.
So, could you walk us through some examples of some of the classes that you would be working with the clients that is not one of the literal poses, like the
Um,
class that has the poses?
so one of the things in ACT therapy, I'm going to look at my notes here real quick, um, is focusing on what your values are. And I do, one of the workshops that we do is on defining your highest self. And that is something that comes as part of the Yoga Sutras and the Niyama Ishvara Pranadhana, which is devotion to God, but it can also be looked at as devotion to an ideal. And we take that one step further to look at devotion to your highest self and what that might be, which helps identify what their values could be. We do an aura measuring workshop.
I've witnessed that.
It is
That was
my favorite thing
that
to
was
do.
fantastic, and that actually really blew me away because I had experience with dowsing for water,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't believe it. I really didn't. And I thought it was with a neighbor, and we were out in his yard. We had just finished a championship game of horseshoes, and he said, "Have you ever doused for water?" And I saw it in movies and whatnot, so I knew what he was talking about. So I said, "No, I don't believe in it." And he said, "Oh, I'll show you." So he went over and he broke a branch off of my willow tree, and he started doing it. And I was watching this and I was like, "See, I still think you're doing it." So he had me try it. And when I tried it and I held it just like he showed me how to hold it, and the branch, the Y branch, as I got closer to the water, started to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And I still was apprehensive. So I put a really good grip on this stick, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And as I started walking closer, I could feel it turning against my calluses on my fingers. And it blew me away. I was able to do it. He said, not everybody can do it ahead of me trying. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, there it is right there. You know, there's the setup for the reason why it wasn't going to work for me. But it did, and it really blew me away. So when I saw you get those rods out,
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is going to be interesting. And it really was interesting.
And I make everybody who's in the group try it so that they know I'm not making this stuff up, just like he had you try it. And then I teach them how to make their auras bigger, how to make their auras smaller. And we talk about why that's beneficial, why you might want to use your energy to influence others, why you might not. Um, it's one of the best things I get to do. And so I do it on a rolling basis so that everybody who comes through gets an opportunity to try it as best I'm able.
Yeah, that's a fantastic thing to do with them. You know, it's really interesting how through 12-step program work, how we get a chance to really dig deep and get in touch with ourselves. And that's really what yoga is all about, isn't it?
Well, that's also what ACT is about too. Figuring out who you are behind your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a bunch of yoga techniques to help separate you from your thoughts, to see your thoughts as the things that they are. And that's a whole lot of what I do. We also do a lot of teaching people how to communicate with their subconscious.
Okay.
So that you are on a deeper level working towards your goals, or you are aware that your subconscious is not working with you, so you put in more checks and balances for yourself.
Do you run across um, clients in some of these facilities automatically shy away from it or shun it just because they think it's a religious thing?
Oh, yes, definitely. Just that's a thing. I've been doing yoga. Oh, this dates me so badly. Um, I've been practicing yoga for 25 years, and there's almost a cyclical situation where society has decided that yoga's bad. Um, and it comes and it goes. And I do get that from clients. I totally understand I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Um, but I try to offer the things that I have found most beneficial in my life so that they have some different tools to use.
Now, how did you ever get into yoga in the first place yourself?
Um, when I was 16, I was in a car accident and broke my pelvis in 13 places.
That's a lot of
That's a
places.
lot of places. And I had a lot of things on my side in the healing process, youth among them. But yoga became a means of continued physical therapy. And between my yoga, my hot tub, and my chiropractor, I'm a mostly functional human being, is how I like to say it. I still have bad days, I still have aches and pains. But yoga has become a foundation for me. And the yoga philosophy has offered me the opportunity to disconnect from my pain. And pain is the body saying something's not right. I will forever have some things that are not right. Um,
So you got into it for the physical
and then
aspect of it.
found the depth of wealth of knowledge within it when I went into a teacher training program.
How long were you practicing yoga when you decided to go into that program?
About 5 years,
Okay.
on and off. I started with a book and VHSs.
What's VHS? Just kidding.
Yeah, we're old. Um, and then I took a class at the community college, actually the one that I end up later teaching, and decided that I needed to learn how to teach yoga, so that I would be kind of forced to keep doing it. I found most people only do yoga if they are paying for it or getting paid to do it, because we tend to slack off in a lot of things, and I needed the yoga. So that's kind of where it all started, and I was very, very lucky to find a home study program through the Temple of Kriya Yoga in Chicago, under the guidance of Goswami Kriyananda, who built out a beautiful program, and they're still releasing his teachings today.
I like Sadhguru a lot. I watch a lot of his videos. I have a Inner Engineering by Sadhguru, his book. I even have his app. Uh, but at the same time, I don't practice the art of yoga as far as the poses and whatnot. Um, I wanted to, but I got two puppies and they're like two toddlers that keep me on my toes. And I just haven't found the right format for my daily life and implementing it in my household.
Well, with two puppies, as soon as you roll out your yoga mat, there are puppies on your yoga mat.
Yeah. So I decided, I think that I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot anyway and just muscle through it, so to speak, with them jumping on me, wondering, why dad's down on the floor
People
ready to
pay
play
a
with
lot
us.
of money to go to puppy yoga classes
What?
where there's puppies loose in the room and you're doing yoga and they come over and lick your face and things. This is a thing. America has done weird things to yoga.
Oh, we need one of those here in town.
There's bunny yoga and goat yoga, and it's a whole crazy thing.
Goat yoga.
Yeah, where you have little goats that climb on you while you're doing poses. I've never been to one,
It
so I
sounds like
cannot
a
speak for or against it. I know there is goat yoga in Pittsburgh.
it sounds like a new diet. Goat yoga. It does. Well, how has your classes evolved since you've been doing this from the beginning up to now? What are some of the most significant things that you've seen in the evolution of what you've been doing with these clients?
In the beginning, I was teaching poses. I mean, that's what kind of was asked of me, and that's what I was doing. And then it was poses with more focus on breathing techniques and attaching the breathing techniques to things that you could do outside of the practice. And then putting a couple short meditations in to start building the foundation of reaching that quiet space within you. And now I would say almost 2/3 of what I teach is workshops on different techniques, different ways to learn and act and do and reach into that inner world and find the things that you need.
I really think that it's been a good benefit to have yoga implemented into the field. I think that it's good for people in the beginning of their path of recovery. And I would bet that you have quite a few individuals who have met you in the facility that they may have been in who have continued their path in yoga. Yeah.
My favorite thing about what I do is when I have someone who never would have gone into a yoga studio say to me, when I get home, I'm going to go to yoga class. You know, my sister's been trying to get me to, my wife's been trying to do it. Like, these people have been trying to get me to do this, and they know the studio, and I'm going to go and I'm going to keep doing this. And it is just the coolest thing to have opened up a doorway to people that never would have been in front of them before.
Yeah. What do you think is the most significant thing that awakens in a person when they're going through a treatment facility and encounter yoga for the first time?
A lot of people are very hesitant about what I present, and like you would expect, they're expecting poses when they're told they're going to be doing yoga. And then I teach them about their chakras and how they can influence their own energy fields. And there's a moment where they're not sure any of the things I'm saying make sense. I always make sure to include, try it. What's the worst that could happen? You find something that's useful, or you find that that doesn't work for you. Not everything works for everybody. The workshop I taught recently, I provided the class 4 different techniques to help, excuse me, 4 different techniques on how yoga philosophy can help you deal with emotions. And I started with, not all of these are going to be your thing. Find the one that resonates with you the most, and then do that.
So you've seen some of these clients in the beginning of their stay at some of these facilities, either questionable or apprehensive or not even willing to participate. But by the end of their stay, after witnessing quite a few classes with them, you see a difference in their participation, attitude, and everything.
Oh, yeah. And there's some that have been like, why haven't I been doing this since I got here? Why did I waste so many days or weeks not participating, because I could have been further along? And they're telling the newer people, yo, you really need to do this. Like, you really need to start doing this. You're going to like feel a difference when you start stretching. It's not that bad.
I think it's fantastic too that you do offer something else other than just a chance for them to come in and do poses, such as the aura reading, which I love, by the way, again. But you're looking at individuals who have physical limitations as far as being able to do poses,
Mm-hmm.
who have an opportunity and a chance to learn more about another aspect of yoga rather than just stretches and poses. And I've seen there was a gentleman who had one leg, and he was really fascinated with what he was learning on the aspect of the philosophy side of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really cool to see, because if if just the poses and the stretches and whatnot were available, then he would have missed an opportunity to take part in the joy of what it has to offer.
Right.
That is awesome.
And so one of the workshops that we do is we do a labyrinth workshop where I teach them how to draw labyrinths, and we work together as a team to build a labyrinth out. When the weather's nice, we do it outside in chalk. When it's not, we do it inside with painter's tape. And then I'll lay out a couple other labyrinths and have them walk them, and then have them walk them with certain intentions. And then have them walk them under a theme sort of setup where I provided them an outline of what to think about before they go in, what to think about as they're walking it, what to leave in the middle of the labyrinth, what to reflect on their way out, and what to maybe journal about later. And even if you have encountered some sort of physical ailment before you arrived, you generally are able to walk through or do those. And even if you can't, watching someone else walk it can provide even a better experience than walking it yourself. So I try to make it as inclusive for as many people as possible. I try to set the bar so low that they can't not at least try it. When we're doing poses, I start with it doesn't matter if you're pretending to do it. You don't have to feel a stretch. Just put yourself kind of like that. Pinch your eyebrows together, grunt, make it look like you're doing something. 3 poses in, they're doing yoga poses. You got to meet people where they're at. And I try very hard to do that.
I think you've done a great job with that so far, from what I've witnessed personally. Yeah. I think that what really drew me to wanting to sit down and have an interview with you was the fact that I, in the beginning, had an idea of yoga at a treatment facility. Like, how many of these people are going to be sitting there and participating in all of these poses without knowing the full extent of what you had to offer, which was mind-blowing to me, you know?
And I think the evolution of what I had to offer came from people not wanting to do it. In the beginning days of me teaching in these kinds of facilities, it was an optional class that they could take. And I wouldn't get a whole lot of people frequently. And then it became well, just go down there. As long as you're down there in Yoga Sam's energy, you're going to come back in a better space. So people would be down there and they just kind of like be there. And then we kind of like work towards trying to meet people more where they're at. And it's evolved into, I got some other things you might want to try.
That's awesome. All right, so this is one of your questions. What is one of the biggest wins that, as a yoga teacher working in recovery and mental health, you have witnessed or accomplished?
So there are 2 that come to mind first. Like I said, having people go into yoga studios when they leave, that's awesome. That will always be one of my favorite things in my job. But I had a student reach out to me probably a year and a half after he had left the facility to let me know he had gone and done a yoga teacher training and was moving into teaching yoga classes. And that was fantastic.
That's awesome.
You don't get that kind of stuff every day. And you don't get that stuff in all the different places that you work. And I had a student, her name was Jackie. I told her that she needed to go to a yoga studio, try to find another group of health-minded individuals to work with. And she now runs, with a friend of hers, a nonprofit in Pittsburgh called the Teetotal Initiative, where they host sober events for people in the Pittsburgh area. And you don't have to be in sobriety to go to their events. They're just sober events.
Oh, okay.
So you can be, someone who supports this, or you can just be someone who saw a cool event and wants to go and hang out with this group. It's just a really cool experience.
I'll get that information from you, and I'll make sure that I put it in the description of the video.
Okay.
So before we close out,
I have something for you.
yeah, I was going to ask you if you wanted to.
You want to know if I had something
anything.
for you?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to ask you.
Here.
Oh, I didn't mean something for me. A 4-leaf clover. Wow. You don't see those too often.
I see them very frequently.
Oh,
They grow.
really?
They grow. I find them. I give them out randomly. I keep a book in my purse that I hand out when I see someone who seems to need one.
Oh, that.
When I grab this
I
notebook,
seem like I need one?
No, when I grabbed this
Okay.
notebook,
Yeah.
that one was already tucked in here. It must have been a notebook I grabbed one day when I had one.
Okay.
So,
Well, I am going to treasure that. Is it okay to put it in the plastic? What do they call that? Laminate it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were talking about ACT therapy and how it ties to yoga.
Yes.
So I had a quote I wanted to read to you. It's from the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the basic texts from yoga. It says,
Not to be confused with the Karma Sutra.
No.
Okay.
No, this is the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
It is a story of a prince who is preparing to go to war against his cousins.
Yes.
And it states, one must deliver himself with the mind, in mind, because the mind is a friend of the conditioned soul, but he is his enemy as well. We've been struggling with whether or not our thoughts are our friends or our enemies for eons. This is not a new text. And the Yoga Sutra begins with, yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. When the mind has settled, we are established in our essential nature, which is unbound consciousness.
Love it.
Yoga is about removing the restrictions in our lives.
Yes.
A lot of the reasons people end up in the facilities that they do where I'm at have put them in places where their lives have been more and more restricted. Yoga's giving you some tools to help release yourself and move into a more expansive world.
That is awesome. Do you have any new books that you would recommend that have not as old as that one or the Karma Sutra, but something that's been newly released within the last decade, anything that would be super helpful to somebody looking to expand their path along this yoga interest?
Well, I don't know if you've recommended it in any of your videos yet, but The Happiness Trap by Russ Harris. It is ACT therapy. It's what that book is. It's a very down-to-earth read for the layperson. You don't have to be a therapist to read that one. But my copy has, this is this yoga technique, and that's that yoga technique, and this is this yoga technique. It spells out a lot of the things that we do in yoga, but it's an ACT therapy book.
Wow.
But it's a really good read. I have given my copy with all my notes in it, lent it out to a couple different students of mine at my studio.
And the title again?
The Happiness Trap.
And the author?
Russ Harris.
Okay. I'll have to find that one too. Add that to my Kindle list. Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thanks for
it's
having
been a
me.
pleasure, and I really think that I accomplished what I was aiming to do, was to give a little bit more exposure as to the depth that yoga does have to offer people in recovery. So thank you again. And if you're interested, feel free to look up Yoga Sam. I'll put a link to her studio in the description of the video. Give us a like on Facebook and subscribe on YouTube and give us a like. Thanks for joining.
Namaste.